Hey Bob, you got the brackets?
I got them. You got the spacers?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, let's put this on here.
Sounds good.
So what this is here is the disc brake kit that goes on the factory rear end. And if you remember on an earlier episode, we went ahead and added this part of the disc brake kit, which replaces the backing plate of the original drum brake. That provides a spacer, and it also gives us a surface to mount our brackets and our spacers.
With our spacers.
On the spacers, you're going to see where there's a machined side of there. What that is because these spacers actually work on several different models of Cadillac rear ends. So this particular one right here, where you see that machined edge, it won't have any interference with this 59 style rear end. It's going to go ahead and go on like so.
And the purpose of that machine spot in the other kits is to provide clearance around the axle flange where this mounting plate is, where the axle flange is larger diameter.
Exactly. When you get into later models, they did increase that diameter there.
So what we're going to do is just going to snug these up, but not tighten them all the way, because we need to check the alignment with the caliper mounted. So these will be tightened in just enough where we can still move the bracket, but that it's not flopping around.
It's staging. It's everything on there before you snug everything up. That'll give you the ability to check alignment, adjustment, and especially when you're dealing with an older vehicle. This also gives you a time where you can check and see and make sure nothing's bent, nothing's out of, it's not true.
That's correct. And these are locking nuts. That's why they're a little bit difficult to tighten up, is they are metal locking nuts, and they are meant to be used one time only. So if you have to disassemble things, for whatever reason, if you have some type of a problem, then these nuts should be replaced.
So now what we're going to do is, on this rear caliper right here, you're going to see this is the way it comes out of the box. And it also has the provision for the emergency brake. So that side goes towards the center of the automobile.
And the other thing to look at is that the bleeder screw will be up. And since we have the chassis inverted, the bleeder screw will point down. But that's a quick and easy way to know that you've gotten the right caliper for the right side of the car. Or I should say correct caliper.
Correct caliper for the correct side of the vehicle. And once again, I know you mentioned it, but I just reiterate that as we do this, the frame is upside down. So just stand on your head. What this does is now we are rigidly with the three pieces of the bracket, which is added on there. We've got our main, and then we have our upper and our lower.
And we have everything lined up and indexed so that the caliper will go on and off very easily.
So we're going to go ahead and loosen those two main bolts that hold the caliper. Now we get to add our rotor. Another thing you want to do in the kit is you'll see that these rotors are machined. They are drilled and machined. So there is a left and there is a right. So you just want to have the direction as in forward motion of the rotor coming down towards the rotation of the vehicle. So we can go ahead and slide that guy on there. We're going to go back because we already tested it.
Start a couple of lug nuts here just to hold that in place. Install a couple more lug nuts to make sure the rotor is held tightly to the axle flange. That's just so we can spin it around, test it, make sure there's no dragging. And I am putting the lug nuts on backwards so that they can bottom out more easily.
And when he says by backwards, you'll see on the lug nuts they do have a machined taper to them. That's what goes into the wheel and helps retain it there.
And there's a chamfer in the on the rotor that if you put them in the correct orientation for this temporary aspect of the installation, they don't bottom out and they won't hold the rotor tightly.
And so this is a situation where you will visually look at it to see if it spins true, and also you're going to hear it. If it does not spin true, it's going to come in contact with the caliper. Now that could be an indication of not having tightened bolts, a bent axle, but fortunately...
Or dirt or filth underneath on the axle flange. It's not letting the rotor sit flush. And you'll hear a noise that kind of would sound like that if something's dragging across the rotor.
Now it's fortunately in this build right here.
Perfect.
Perfect. Nothing.
Smooth as silk.
No sound is great sound.
That's right, Bob.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you.